Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and happy Halloween. Today is going to be fun because for today's video, I am going to be doing something that I haven't done in 3 years, and that is reading creepypastas, specifically Left 4 Dead theme creepypastas. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of Left 4 Dead creepypastas out there, and that is why I only made the one video 3 years ago. But since that time, I have now found another one, and this particular story I feel like is good enough to make a sequel for this type of video. The story is called Used for Part, and it does have a not safe for life warning, which when I googled it to see specifically what it meant, it basically is the same idea as not safe for work. It has a lot of apparently disturbing content within the story, so do be forewarned because the storyteller says that there's content in here that might be disturbing. Please know that going into this. But yeah, if you guys don't mind the warning, then sit back, relax, and let's listen to some scary Left 4 Dead creepypastas on Halloween night. There's no doubt in my mind that you are aware of the infamous corpse model from a Half-Life 2. If you're not aware, the texture for the model's face was often an actual burn victim sourced from a medical textbook. When everybody who was a fan of the game found this out, they simply couldn't help themselves from discussing it. Can't say I blame them though. Plus, there's also the beta textures for the fast zombie, which is theorized to be an autopsy photo, though nothing is confirmed. Though if I were to tell you an even more nauseating instance of this sort of practice, you probably would think I'm insane. Maybe you even want to find what I'm about to describe deep in Valve's servers. Don't. It doesn't matter how brave or desensitized you think you are, it's not worth it. I was a part of the team for Left 4 Dead 2 after Turtle Rock Studios was bought by Valve. They decided to expand the team significantly. My role was a character modeler, though after what transpired, I quit, and remained uncredited in the final product. Full disclosure, I have no ill will towards Valve, but the individual this story centers around has a psyche like a shattered mirror. I wouldn't doubt, even for a minute, he would try to threaten my safety if he were to find out I'm telling you this. So the man behind the madness. I would love to tell you who this guy really was, but due to some legal stuff, I'm not allowed to disclose his real name. I'm already skirting a fine line even telling you the story publicly, so for the sake of this, I'm going to call him Ryan. Not even a minute after he walked through the door, everybody in our office already felt something was off about him. He was a lanky, pale guy. His age was hard to pin down. He could have been anywhere from 16 to 30. Some other features included dark brown stubble that went all the way down to just above his Adam's apple, perpetual bags under his eyes, and a general air of uncleanliness and filth. He had been brought in as a texture artist. Needless to say, nobody liked Ryan, but he was allowed to stick around as he hadn't technically done anything truly wrong. He was only on the team for a week or so, but it felt like months. But the first thing that truly weirded me out was when I gave him an early model of a common infected to work with. Now the concept art and the model I made for it looked almost identical to the final product, merely just normal people with green skin and some signs of a slight mutation. But when Ryan sent me the texture model, it was not what I was expecting. The overall build and outfit was untouched, but the face was where the similarities to the final product ended. The face was pale and, compared to the rest of the textures, was grainy and surprisingly amateurish. I could feel the deep brown eyes boring deep into my soul, and the mouth that hung ever so slightly open didn't help. Everywhere the skin of the infected was exposed. It was a pale, almost transparent color. to the point where I could see the veins pop out like the eyes of a mouse that was caught by a cat. Naturally, I was confused. I went to confront Ryan about what the hell this was during break. "What the hell did you do to the model?" Ryan flinched, as though I had caught him doing something he wasn't supposed to do, despite the fact all he was doing was standing by a water cooler. He quickly tried to compose himself. "Oh, hey. What did you do with the infected model I gave you? I didn't give you the concept art too, didn't I? What's with the new design?" Ryan paused for a second, before he chuckled in that disgusting, highly nasally tone that everyone in the workplace had grown wary of. "Oh yeah, sent me the art, but it was dull." "Yeah, but it was the artist that came up with it, and it's like hell I'm going to be working on such generic designs." "Ryan, I don't care what you think is generic. It's your job to piss off." I didn't feel like getting fired for beating up a coworker over something trivial, so I bit my tongue and continued the rest of the day in relative silence. But I decided to at least tell the higher-ups about Ryan's behavior. They said they would look into it, and that was that. After he had surprisingly attempted to actually clean up his act, he would still submit textures that were totally off from what the artist had envisioned, but they were simply alternative versions which were presented alongside much more accurate ones. But everyone else who was doing the textures for the game were growing increasingly scared of Ryan. Of note, being this one guy who apparently vomited when he glanced at his creation of the spitter textures. Now I had seen his work from that monster. The alternate design had swollen bruises around the eyes, no teeth, and exposed guts hanging from its stomach. Admittedly, while his other designs unnerved me, the spitter was the one that truly disgusted me in execution. Something about it seemed wrong, perverted. I get we were designing zombies, and that was kinda the point, but admittedly, Ryan's texture work really shined when it came to more grotesque interpretations of the infected. It looked like I was staring at an actual atrocity that was once a human being. So given that the employee's reaction during the texturing process, I just had to know what had happened to disgust him that bad. So I snuck into his cubicle with another employee, just in case what we saw was just that bad that we needed some morale or reassurance to get us through the rest of the day. We checked the computer, and there were the standard programs that he would need, alongside some randomly assorted files for stuff like fabric, leather, and other clothing materials. But we then noticed a folder labeled "Used for Parts." My coworker double-clicked the folder to see what was inside, and the contents nearly made us retch our stomachs through our mouths. There were files upon files of real people who were in horrific conditions. Some were already dead, but some were just barely clinging on to life. The worst part was recognizing the parts that Ryan had used. A man with his knuckles breaking through the skin, covered in blisters. He had used it for the hunter. A victim of gangrene who had rotting limbs was used for the charger's arm. The spitter. Jesus Christ, the spitter. Trying to recall half of what he had used would make me waterboard myself with acid just to forget about it. The most I can tell you is that one of the things coming from the stomach wasn't an ordinary internal organ. It was an umbilical cord. We immediately panicked and contacted the higher-ups to have them learn what Ryan was doing, but they refused to fire him at first, instead opting to simply rework the textures he had already done. But with some more pushing over the course of the remaining hours of work, we finally convinced them to get him off the team. He was later confronted and fired. Ryan went off raving about how Valve were cowards and couldn't appreciate the reality of his work. He even attempted to assault one of the staff members, but he was restrained and escorted out before he could. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happened to him? To tell you the truth, I have no idea. I only ever knew him on a first-name basis. And I couldn't find anything in the news about a mentally ill Valve employee being fired over having a folder of gore on his computer. Everyone else, from what I could gather, refused to mention Ryan's name and simply referred to that folder as the Nightmare folder, presumably to disassociate from Ryan. But if I do find anything else out, I will be sure to let you know. One more thing. If you think this Nightmare folder is some tall tale I'm making up to frighten you, then I want you to do something for me real quick. Go to YouTube and find an upload of the developer commentary for the game and skip to around 7 or 8 minutes in. I think what you'll find will be rather curious. Jesus goddamn Christ. That was not only a good story, but a really disturbing one. This story is not like any other scary story. This is not about a cursed copy of the game, where something in the game comes alive or is possessed by a dead spirit. This is within the realm of reality, where there is a possibility that there was an employee at Valve that had been mentally ill and was trying to put in disturbing depravity inside of the game. This was a really well done story, and I really think this is probably the best creepypasta I have read in recent memory. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it here for today's video, and I do truly hope you all ended up enjoying. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. As we wrap up the video, please do be sure to check out my second YouTube channel, Black Ninja 797 Extras. Where on there I upload gameplay walkthroughs, funny moments with my friends, and Challenge Accepted, which was a series I used to do here on my main channel where I played games you guys requested me to play. If you guys want to check out the second channel, there's going to be a link down below in this video's description. Also, please consider using my supporter creator code BlackNinja797 in the Fortnite and Epic Games item shops, because Epic is my first sponsor. And I also want to say thank you to all the channel members that are helping me keep the lights on and the mics on. For those that don't know, I recently enabled YouTube channel memberships, which is basically like Patreon, but for my YouTube channel. For members, I'm going to be making more sleep-themed videos on Left 4 Dead and Call of Duty Zombies, where I change my speaking style to be more of a monotone or ASMR style with some sound effects in the background. If you want to see more sleep-themed content for me, do please consider becoming a YouTube channel member. There will be a link down below in this video's description. But yeah, guys, all that being said, I hope you ended up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTuber you guys are ever going to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I love all of you. Peace out, and happy Halloween.
Hey, meme lords. Jesus here. And you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too. And give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!